I thought was very interesting because Travis Kelce has seriously talked about the possibility of him retiring. And if that does come into play, they get, I believe, $17 million, you said, back in cap space.
Yep.
Are the Kansas City Chiefs, or I guess namely Travis Kelce, going to ruin the Bears, what feels like their biggest offseason game plan?
No way to know. Sounds like the last I read, I think on Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio was writing that the Chiefs are willing to give Travis Kelce until around March 14th to make a decision. So basically until the start of the new league year when free agency starts and they have to make decisions. Yeah, like if you put my mother and my dog in a situation where I could only save one of them, then I'm sorry, buddy. I gotta. Even then, dude, it's kind of tough.
It's tough. It's tough. What's going on in the Norling household?
And I love my mother, but I love my dog, dude.
Would you put your dog down for a championship?
Fuck no. Are you out of your mind?
Put your dog down for a Bears Super Bowl.
Shoot your dog in the leg. Yes.
No.
I'm not gonna lie. I would take the bullet before I shot my dog in the leg.
Are we recording this? This should be recording.
It is recording, technically.
My God. No, I would not shoot my dog.
No, legitimately, because you got to think about this, right? Like, as dog people, you'll let your dog pretty much, like, if it jumps on you, like, my dog will, like, if it got to go to the bathroom, Coda, he's big enough to, like, get in the bed. So he'll, like, just put his paws up there. He don't jump in the bed, but he'll put his paws up there and be like, hey, it's time to get up. But if I like accidentally step on his paw, it's like, oh God, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Like he can trample me, but I'm like, there's no shot. I'd shoot my dog for a championship. But I would take a bullet in the leg.
No, it's ridiculous
for a Bears Super Bowl.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely,
you can't do it. This is I
don't think anyone's offering Shea, but if I could guarantee a Bears Super Bowl,
you would take a bullet in the leg.
Yes.
No, dude.
As long as it doesn't hit the femoral artery.
But here's the thing.
Clean shot through and through.
Like
I live, you know what I mean?
For me, it's the team doesn't care about me. They're not paying my bills. Like I don't have an easier time with my mortgage because I'm a fan of a team.
Yeah.
They don't care that I exist. They care that I'm a line item.
My team wins a Super Bowl and now I'm cashing disability checks. Oh, baby.
Are you getting a disability check if you shoot yourself in the leg?
Not shooting yourself. It's you taking a bullet. Now, what if it's got to be a random time, though? You don't know when the bullet's coming.
You put it that way.
You don't know when the bullet's coming. I'm not saying self-inflicted wound.
You got to fall off this ladder at work. And you get workman's comp and disability, and your team wins the championship. Okay.
You know what I mean?
I could start to see it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you just walk.
Your coworker goes nuts and hits you in the face with a shovel.
Yeah.
But as a result, you get punitive damages and your team wins the championship. Okay.
Is there a way we can get this done? Are you offering, Shea?
Listen, a chance to hit you in the face with a shovel? Buddy, I'd do that for free.
What's the meme is like, would you punch your coworker in the face for $10,000? Guy's like, it ain't about the money.
I've been dying to do this.
It ain't about the money. I've been waiting on this. Apparently this is Chicago Bears podcast. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to Facebook. What a cold open. Did we just SNL this thing?
Well, it was the 50th anniversary last night. I didn't even know we were taping. I'm glad we were.
Taping for a while, apparently. I look up, it says 4 minutes recording.
Free-form ensemble conversation. It's what this podcast needs.
I'm not mad at it. This is what Shea Norling brings to the show, and I love it. Football conversation will ensue on this podcast outside of just getting shot in the leg. But how was the weekend, my guy? How you feeling?
It was great. I didn't watch a lick of NBA All-Star.
Ooh.
I didn't watch the skills challenge. I didn't watch the dunk contest. I didn't watch the Rising Stars. I didn't watch the games. I watched none of it. I watched USA Canada. I watched Michigan State paste 2 L's. ILL. You can't do it without the 2 L's. Take them. Go green. That was fantastic.
You know what? I could have lived with the Michigan State when you texted me. I was like, all right, you get it off. Let's go. Because I got to the game. No, I walked away when they did the TSJ retirement because my daughter had something going on. And so I didn't see the jersey go up upside down. When I saw that on social media, I was fuming. I was I was already mad because I was like, Bielema, they're not. I'm like, what are we doing here?
So good.
What are we doing here?
So good.
Not prepared for this game at all. Not ready to go. Like, we're having this conversation. Then I see TSJ going up upside down. And on top of that, people on social media are like, who's TSJ? I was like, let's not get disrespectful now. Like, we know who this guy is. We know who this young man is.
I'll leave it alone.
It got disrespectful. Oh, no, I get it. I get, because if they had won, I'd be that dude that I am. You know what I mean? But
listen, all I'm saying is, man, you hung the banner upside down. You went the final 8.5 minutes without a bucket. You just hate to see it.
I'm watching KJ's stock plummet.
But I know one thing.
Just like draft stock, just like, oh, he's top 15 now, maybe.
All I know is you can't do ILL without the 2 L's. Take them, swallow them. Yeah. For all the fans who told me that things were going to be different. Oh, the refs bailed you out in East Lansing. It'd be different when you come down to Champaign. We know we're the better team. Yeah, take your medicine.
Yeah, we got clapped.
Take your medicine.
We got clapped.
Go green.
It was bad.
So good weekend for me. Yeah. And the hockey was stellar.
Hockey was amazing.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was nice to, like, first weekend without football, have really good stuff to watch and take in.
Is that officially the best I guess you can call it an all-star game, all-star format that there is? The NHL's. Because that was phenomenal. Like it.
Okay. I hope that there's a lesson to be learned here
for other leagues.
Don't do all-star games. Get rid of them completely. Like next year, there's not going to be a Four Nations tournament. The reason is because Bettman is wised up. They'll release the NHL players to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Watching hockey in the Olympics is great. I love that. Don't do an all-star game as filler while that's happening. We don't need it.
Yes.
And then when you come back in 2027 after the Olympics in 26, let's just do this again.
Yeah.
Expand it a little bit, maybe add a few more countries. But stick with this because this rocks. Take 2 weeks off. These guys love playing for their country. Do this.
Yeah.
NBA, no more all-star game. Nobody needs it. You got LeBron sitting out. Oh, it's making a mini tournament between 4 teams. That'll fix everything. The result, I saw this. I didn't watch, but I saw this on social media. Out of a 3-hour all-star game broadcast, 42 minutes were spent playing basketball.
Bro. When I
That's
tell
terrible.
You, now see, look. So I cover the NBA as well. So I have to know what's happening. So I'm watching it. It quickly moves to TV too. I mean, it's 15 minutes in, and I'm like, yeah, we can slide this down here. Put a little Black Myth Wukong up here. We're gonna play some video games while this is going on. But when I tell you, like, there's a concert breaking out, I love Kevin Hart. I didn't need to see him on my TV that much.
Mr. Beast.
There was Mr. Beast wanted this young man to lose so incredibly bad. Like, I don't understand. Why are you giving money away? He's sitting there, like, talking in his ear the whole time. Hey, you got it, buddy. Keep it up. Here we go. You got it, man. But Dame Lillard, he was competing against him, finally was like, all right, dog, like, relax. Back up. Let him shoot. Like,
I don't get it.
Mr. P, is he not a good dude? I feel like he's a good dude.
No, he's
but
like,
it seems like there's some not good dude stuff consistently popping up. I don't know all the ins and outs of the Mr. Beast issues that popped up.
I don't either. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a Mr. Beast diehard, but I have friends who watch, I don't know why, the Beast games on Thursday nights. Okay. Mr. Beast can
please.
I'm going to put it this way. I'm going to put it this way. You can do good things and be a bad person
easily.
And this guy's like basically doing the Hunger Games in real life. So not that they're killing each other. But he is asking people to debase themselves as human beings and like deprive themselves of basic human needs, with the end being you get X amount of dollars. Like ask them to do the most ridiculous thing you could imagine. I watched one that two people who didn't know each other at all had to live in like a little warehouse for 3 months. And at the end of it, they got to decide if they split the money or if they keep the money for themselves. And if they both decided to keep the money for themselves, nobody got any money. But if one person...
I'm not going to lie. I grew up on Fear Factor, so this doesn't sound that bad.
3 months in a warehouse. 3 months.
Were any bugs eaten?
I don't remember.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I grew up watching Fear Factor, where like the reason that they took them off of the air was basically
all I'm saying. Look,
if
man.
You know the reason. If you don't Google,
and I'm not saying
took them off.
I'm not saying anybody who like watches this stuff is a bad person.
Yeah.
To me, I'm with you. There is something sinister. There's a sinister edge about it.
It's weird. It's like he didn't want
to feel uncomfortable.
He didn't want to give him the money, and I'm like, well, this is your thing. You give money away. Like when the players are like, when the guy competing against you is like, all right, bro, like let him breathe and actually take a shot.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm kind of going easy out of me. You're like, I want him to get $100,000. I'm sorry if that doesn't fit into your tax bracket. But yeah, outside of that, All-Star game was horrible. It was. And it's the biggest joke now in sports all-star games, and the Pro Bowl still exists. Like it's not even close.
I was kind of going to say the Pro Bowl might be the bigger joke because now it's just flag football, and the highlight reel is like, look at Joe Burrow juke this guy, and then it's Joe Burrow in a T-shirt and gym shorts.
And you know what? It's more entertaining than the basketball that we saw.
Wouldn't know. I didn't watch either of them.
It's horrible. But I did tap in. But it's I think the hockey was the perfect conversation for hockey because it gave people a reason to watch hockey that don't watch hockey.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing like that in the NBA. There was no attachment like that with the NBA.
I was dialed into USA Canada. It was spectacular.
3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
It was spectacular. And like, don't hate me for saying this. The political tension plays a part in building up the event.
Come on, no. Miracle
100%.
on Ice is all political
absolutely.
tension. Like that's not surprising.
So everybody's like, oh, they booed the anthem. They're horrible people. I'm like, dude, put the shoe on the other foot. What do you think you would do?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with that. Just relax. And you know what? Here's your thing. If you've got such an issue with the anthem being booed, buy a ticket to Boston and go boo theirs. Who cares? It's a song. Who cares?
I think what's great is that the players cared because immediately as the puck drops, they're like, we got to fight you, right? I know you didn't do it. It's not you personally booing, but there's no way we're letting you leave here without us. We may lose, but there's no way you're getting off of this ice without us throwing hands. And I think it ratcheted up the game so much. I mean, I was locked in, and I like hockey, but I'm not like with basketball, right? I can name you 8 of the 10 players on the Charlotte Hornets. I can do that in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. I can't tell you who's playing for the Bruins right now. If it's not the Blackhawks, I'm not dialed in. I'm not locked in. I was locked in on this.
Absolutely. No, I thought it was great. It was a great product. It was good to see that an all-star event can still carry some weight. I had a great time watching it. And the U.S. response to what the fans were doing, loved it.
Yeah.
If you got an issue, drop the gloves and let's go.
It's the only sport where you get to. I love that they took advantage of it.
Dude,
like I'm telling you,
I loved all of it.
A little fisticuffs in the NBA. The NBA's right back on top.
Putting McDavid up against the boards, the whole thing. It was great. It was terrific. The product was terrific. And it's because the players took it seriously.
Yes.
It doesn't happen in the NFL, doesn't happen in the NBA.
No.
Certainly doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. Don't even get me started. But this event was awesome.
It's so tough too because there's nothing the NFL can do with it. Like the NBA, you can have this, and you sort of did have this, right? USA versus the world. But again, the United States didn't take it seriously. They got cooked more times than not. I think it was a part of the Rising Stars Challenge too. NFL, you don't have a chance with. Like 95% of the league is from America, probably, or is American born or went to an American college. Like I don't know if you even have a chance to. And I mean, also to do something like this to make it entertaining.
And let's be real. Like, and I'm not saying NHL is not tough, but the NFL, man. I mean, that sport. you're in 30 car accidents
Yes.
every game that you play.
Yeah.
If you're an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, make it 60. Like, you are in intense. Every snap is the most physical thing imaginable. Literally car accident force. You're never going to get those guys to take an exhibition game seriously. It's never going to happen. Their lives are on the line in the actual games. And then they're going to go to an exhibition and be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's
They
duke
did
it out.
used to, though. They did, but I think that was, you see guys get seriously injured or stuff like that.
Of course.
But I do wonder, right, if that started to lead to more injuries. I think that's the problem, right? Like J-Max says it all the time. You play this game 80%, you will get hurt. Like not going 100%, not going your 100%, you will get hurt. Lance used to say that on the show too. Like it got to a point where it was about the money, so don't hurt yourself. But then you would see guys like twist something, turn something, because they're not going 100%. So,
well, and also consider, like, they used to play 13 games or 12
it's very
games
different league,
or 14 games. Now you're playing 17 games in your regular season, and they want you to tack another one onto it for fun. No, I'm not taking that seriously. This is how I make my living. This is how I help my family out. I can't do that.
I'm willing to trade a competitive Pro Bowl for an extra real game of football, by the way, easily. Speaking of football, let's talk a little bit of football on here, because this is I think you brought this topic up, and I thought this was a very good topic to bring to the podcast as far as the Bears offseason, because it seems like the name Trey Smith has been a lock in Bears fans' mouths probably since week 14 of the season. People have just been, you got to go get Trey Smith. You got to go get Trey Smith. You got to go get Trey Smith. Me and you had a conversation on here about how, I don't know if Trey Smith is the guy they let out of there after watching the Super Bowl. But you brought up something in Shot or No Shot with Cap and J Hood that I thought was very interesting, because Travis Kelce has seriously talked about the possibility of him retiring. And if that does come into play, they get, I believe, $17 million, you said, back in cap space.
Yep.
Are the Kansas City Chiefs, or I guess namely Travis Kelce, going to ruin the Bears, what feels like their biggest offseason game plan?
No way to know. Sounds like the last I read, I think on Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio was writing that the Chiefs are willing to give Travis Kelce until around March 14th to make a decision. So basically until the start of the new league year, when free agency starts and they have to make decisions. I believe that's actually the day before the new league year. So to me, they're saying you have to make a decision before, because we can talk to our current players until that. But once we hit free agency, it's open market season. And I wonder if the Chiefs are asking him to make that decision or pressuring him maybe a little quicker, because if he retires, they might have the ability before free agency even opens to just bring Trey Smith back.
Yeah.
I don't know. What happens is going to be super interesting to see. And look, even if Kelce doesn't retire, it's not like the Chiefs can't get creative.
That's what I keep saying. I'm
Base
like,
salary.
we watch the NFL. The Rams haven't blown it up yet, and we don't know how they've circumvented the cap.
They remember, though, they had a tank season.
Yes.
And the picks in that tank season actually went to Detroit. So they've had issues. The Aaron Donald thing helped with him, not helped, but with him retiring, you got some money back, and they've hit home runs early in the draft on defense, which the Chiefs have done to an extent too. I think a base restructure on Mahomes' salary would save them $30 million against the cap. I have a feeling Mahomes is going to agree to that.
Yeah.
I think a base restructure on Chris Jones would save in the range of 10. I have a feeling Chris Jones is going to do that. If Kelce doesn't retire, he can restructure his. It'll void all of the years at the end of his deal, basically make him a one-year player with a big cash assist up front, but lessen the cap hit this year. I imagine he would do that if he doesn't retire. That could all allow them to keep Trey Smith too. Whether or not they keep Trey Smith is 100% up to the Kansas City Chiefs. I've always believed that. But they do have more holes than that. So that's kind of the thing, is like, is right guard the place they want to invest heavily? Or do they want to do it elsewhere on the offensive line? Or maybe at receiver? Or there are so many ways that they can go, directions they can take. There's no way to project what they're going to do.
If they do go out about that route, right? If they find a way to hold on to Trey Smith, does that change your feeling at the top of this draft? Because there's really, I mean, we keep talking about, right, Will Campbell, we keep talking about Kelvin Banks Jr. Realistically, there is one left tackle player at the top of this draft. You've got a couple of guys that seem like they project to be guards at the top of this draft. Do you have to kind of go out and take one of those guys if you miss out on the Trey Smith market, which in the scenario me and you both wanted, we're like, if Mason Graham's there, you take him.
Yeah,
then you figure the rest of it out. But you do need to prioritize protecting Caleb Williams.
So again, for me, I think I said this on the morning show. Free agency, you can't predict what teams and what players are going to do. We all feel like it has to be on the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Whether that's the offensive side or the defensive side. Priority has to be the trenches.
Do not draft the DB.
I think you have to let free agency dictate what you do in the draft.
Right.
So what I mean by that is if you get Drew Dalman and Trey Smith, okay, you have two known quantities that you've now added to this line. Get into the draft, I'm entertaining more. I can trade up and get Mason Graham.
Yes.
Or I could take a shot for Abdul Carter. I can worry about the defensive side of the football a lot more because I've got these two named brands on the offensive line in free agency. Then you can do what you want to do. Second round, might get a guard. Just the reality, you're not taking a guard in the top 10 unless Quentin Nelson's there, and he's not. So if I get guard center done in free agency, I'm more inclined to go defense early in the draft. If I can't get Trey Smith or if I can't get Drew Dalman, well, then my pivot would be a guy like Milton Williams, Eagles defensive tackle, go out, try to make that happen in free agency, find a way to address the defensive line in free agency, and then in the draft, prioritize the O-line. I think just free agency happens first.
Win, yeah. You got to win free agency and on one of the lines.
Not even got to win. That's the first thing that happens. So whether it's a win or a loss, whatever you achieve in free agency, your process there has to dictate what you do at the top of the draft.
Yeah.
And I think it should be kind of opposite of each other, like opposite philosophies.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, listen, if you go out and you get somebody dominant on the defensive side, I think the part that scares me, though, is the names we're hearing at 10. Are you still enamored by it? Felt like Will Campbell to me felt like a lock. He felt like one of those players that if he's going to be there, you take him. He's a mauler. He's aggressive. He gets after you. He's got a motor that never stops. And maybe he's a little stumpy on the arms at left tackle. That's still a really good left guard. But like you said, is it one of those top guys that can be game-changing? At 10, can you take a guard at 10? Then I go, okay, where's the next best place you can fix your offensive line in the first round? What scares me there is I do think it is a guy like Ohio State left tackle Josh Simmons who had missed, I believe, pretty much all of this season outside of 2-3 weeks, something like that, with a knee injury.
I think Josh Simmons got hurt in camp.
Did he get hurt in camp?
Remembering correctly. I might be wrong on that. It might have been early. I know it was early in the year. They lost their left tackle.
He would have been probably a top 5 guy, if not for the injury.
He'd been up there for sure. Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell were kind of always projecting at the top, but yeah.
Can you take a chance on drafting a guy like that in the first round, who I think is probably your next best fix when the offensive line injuries have not been kind to you, as you're about to move on from Tevin Jenkins, who's pretty much been injured the whole time he's been here?
Look, they can do whatever they want to do. Yeah. I mean, it's tough, right? Because I think people have the Kiran Amagaji thing where he got hurt at Yale. You knew this was going to be more of a work in progress and a project. And he hadn't played a ton. And then you saw him play, and he's terrible. And you go, okay, well, we can't do this again. I think the Josh Simmons thing would scare people. But what I would say is there aren't a lot of avenues that the Bears can take in this draft and in this free agency cycle where I'm going to come out of it and be like, what the fuck did they just do? There's not much.
Really?
There really is not much.
You think it's like the offseason is kind of that much locked in for the Bears decision-wise?
Not locked in. I'm saying I think there's so much flexibility part of that is because they have so many holes to fill on the trenches specifically
Yeah.
that if they go just all trench, I almost don't think you can go wrong just in terms of reaction on the day. Like you could draft bad players.
Yes.
But if their offseason is, okay, we got Trey Smith, we got Drew Dalman, and the draft broke in a way where Will Campbell was available at 10 and other guys weren't, and you take Will Campbell, well, if you come out of that and I look at your offensive line and it's Braxton, Will Campbell, Drew Dalman, Trey Smith, Darnell Wright, what am I going to do? I'm not going to say that am I going to say your offseason sucked? No, of course not. If you get Drew Dalman and Trey Smith and Mason Graham is available at 6 and you're like, you know what? Fuck it. This guy is transformational to our D-line. We're going to move up. And you take Mason Graham. Am I going to be pissed? Absolutely not. I would love that. It would make me happy. If you don't get Trey Smith, but you get Drew Dalman or vice versa and Milton Williams, or like you figure out ways to do this, I won't be angry. The pathways to me being like, what are they doing? Is go spend big money on another linebacker. Be like, the fuck? Go spend big money on another safety like you did with Kevin Byard. Or in the draft, like say Will Campbell is available at 10 and you take Ashton Genty. Huh? I go, what? Now there's a world, but even Ashton Genty have built a roadmap where like, okay, you get Drew Dalman, you get Trey Smith, and then the draft breaks in a way where, look, Mason Graham's off the board, Abdul Carter's off the board, Will Campbell's off the board, Kelvin Banks Jr.'s off the board. You're sitting there at 10. Nobody's dying to move up and get this pick from you. All right, we'll just fuck it, take Genty. I can live with that. That would not be like I'm going to break my TV situation. So there are a lot of ways that this can go where I'm like, okay, not bad.
Genty's probably the one that confuses me the most, but I get you because it's just you're taking best talent available at that point.
Right.
You don't have a lot of options. And I think the question for me, I said this earlier today on the Morning Breeze while my internet was cooperating. If one defensive lineman or offensive lineman hits, after you take Genty at 10. You're kind of in and it's not apples to apples, but you're kind of in a Tory Taylor situation where you drafted a punter. If any player hits that is a position of need or just a position player that you may end up spending money on in the future, that pick is a miss.
Okay.
I think with Genty at 10, if we're looking 5 years down the line and Genty's a good player, maybe he's a top 10 running back in the league, but you missed out on a top offensive tackle or a top center or any of those. I think it's tough for me to look back and go, yeah, running back's the right move there because we know the trenches is the answer.
Okay. I get you, and typically I'd agree. It's just a question of who's there at 10 for me.
Yeah.
And I would counterpoint that by like, let me use a real life example. Did the Lions screw up by getting Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta instead of Jalen Carter?
I would say you're probably a more impactful team in the playoffs if you get Jalen Carter than what you had with Gibbs and Laporta.
Okay.
So in that context, yes, it's a screw up. Both are good players.
Fine.
Both are phenomenal players.
Fine with it. I just wanted clarity on the point because I want to know where you stand. Because my thing with it is, yes, offensive line's a position of need. Yes, defensive line's a position of need. Just everywhere. Center guard, probably tackle. Defensively, tackle might be okay. You definitely need another edge.
Yeah.
Just there are needs that have to be addressed. And I get that using it on a running back feels value-less, but is running back not a position of need?
It is a position of need. You do need to improve your run game, yes.
So, yeah, I think there's a world where, like, third round you get Cam Scatabo. Or I don't even know where most of these guys are projecting, but there's so many. Dylan Sampson,
I'd take
Omarion
Quinshon
Hampton.
Judson. I ain't going to lie to you. I keep seeing his name pop up.
Travion Henderson.
Eddie George had kind of leaked that the Bears might be interested in. So
Well, Travion Henderson's a good name too.
Yeah.
Ohio State back also. Judkins, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of backs, and it's deep, and you could get them in later rounds. I get it. I'm still not sitting here saying my preferred thing
You
is
gotta
Ashton
go.
Genty.
Yeah.
It's not that. I'm just
if all else fails.
I'm painting the picture that, okay, you've addressed the O-line and free agency, and all of the elite line of scrimmage guys are gone by the time you're up at 10. I can work myself to not being pissed.
right.
It's Ashton Genty.
Right.
I'm not even sitting here saying I'd fall in love with it and like wrap my arms around the pick. It's getting myself to a point where I'm not going to bounce my TV off my brick walls.
Genty is one of those moves to me where it's kind of like what you said, right? There's a ton of options you can go. At the end of it, like I didn't like that we spent money on DeAndre Swift, right? If DeAndre Swift had a 1,500-yard rushing season, I'd be like, oh, Ryan Poles got it right. All right, good job. That was smart. I still would have spent money other places. It's how I feel about the Saquon conversation. Everybody always gets on me, be like, Pat, I can't believe you still say you wouldn't spend money on Saquon. And my big thing is Saquon Barkley's fine if he's this Saquon Barkley. What helped him be this Saquon Barkley? I think if you take an Ashton Genty top of the draft, I can feel good about it. I can be like, you got a good player. I can almost guarantee that you got a good player. But how much better could another running back have been if you've got that premier offensive lineman, if you've got that guy that's opening up holes? And I think that's always going to be the conversation for me. I'm not saying that you would – it is the Jahmyr Gibbs thing. You didn't miss with Gibbs. He's a hit. He's a draft hit. Laporta's a draft hit.
And they got both guys for Gibbs or for Carter.
Yes.
That's why I'm making the comparison.
But if Jalen Carter's on this team, how different is that defense in the playoffs?
Okay.
That you still added to, right? I think it's like I can look at you and say you're good. I can also look at you and say he would be more valuable than you are.
Would he be more valuable than both? Because I always think that
Both
the conversation,
both might be tough.
I think that's where the conversation gets mixed up. And again, it's not apples to apples, because to make this work perfectly, the Bears would need to trade the 10th pick and acquire 2 good players in exchange for 1. But I'm just making the point. Like, even a better example would be, how valuable do you feel corner is as a position in the NFL?
I'm 6th in the rankings of things that is there.
Okay, perfect. Did the Patriots fuck up when they made the trade? I believe it was the Patriots traded for the Lions pick. Did they fuck up when they took Christian Gonzalez over Jalen Carter?
I would say yeah.
Okay.
I would say yeah.
So that's more a fair comparison. And that's where, okay, if you feel like taking Ashton Genty over player X, but again, we don't know who that player is.
Right.
And I'm living in the world when I build out the situation. Because let's be honest, there's not a Jalen Carter in this draft. If there is, it's Abdul Carter.
Or Mason Graham.
Or Mason Graham.
I was gonna say, Mason Graham feels
and I'm not saying like
Jalen Carter-esque.
I know Abdul Carter. I can hear the YouTube comments. I know Abdul Carter is not a defensive tackle. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about the weight and impact of the prospect. It doesn't exist here. So you're talking about a guy who was the consensus number 1 player in the draft, fell because off-field stuff.
Yes.
People died. And that's kind of a different thing where, like, this player everybody knew was the best player in the draft was available, and you chose player X. If Mason Graham, Abdul Carter, Kelvin Banks Jr., and Will Campbell are all gone when the Bears are up at 10, all of the Jalen Carters are gone. So if somebody hits that's picked beyond that point, it's not fair for me to sit here. I'm not the guy screaming about Josh Simmons. I'm not going, Josh Simmons is the best tackle in this draft. You have to get him.
He might be, but
my point is, it certainly could be. And if I'm sitting here today and I'm going, Josh Simmons is the surefire number 1 guy, you have to have him. Well, then I'm allowed to be angry if they take Genty and Josh Simmons is an incredible player. But nobody's doing that about Josh Simmons. People are doing that about Genty. So if you get Genty at 10 because everybody else that you would have taken in a position of need is gone, I don't really care what happens with anyone after. You went with the best process I could see on the day. I can't hold you accountable because you didn't do something nobody foresaw happening.
Yeah.
Now the punter is a different story.
Nobody foresaw that.
Right. Like, dude, you took Tory Taylor a pick before Bucky fucking Irving.
Yeah.
That can't happen.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
I'm still so mad. But it was and that's why I said none of it's apples to apples, but it was like the second they did that and everybody's in my comments and they're all, Pat, you don't know how this guy flips the field and it's gonna be so important and this dude doesn't know ball. I was like, if one player hits, and it's so funny that it's the position I probably value least on a football field above punter and kicker. It's so funny that the one position that hit is the running back. But if one person hits, I'm looking at Tory Taylor and I'm like, well, buddy, you better learn to play linebacker at 6'4", 230. Better figure something out because you're not punting well enough for us to feel good about that. Those are the moments where it is. Now, I think it's different because that felt like Ryan Poles getting cocky. I think if you took Genty and no one's on the board, like you said, it would feel like no matter what in the first round and a top 10 pick, you do have to take best talent available. What teams usually do is say, I'm going to trade out of this because the best talent available has nothing to do with what we need to improve on the football field.
Right.
So
also, I can hear the YouTube comments again. So I just want to say, I know I brought up the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez versus Jalen Carter. If I was wrong, I apologize. I just, in my head, I can't remember as we do this live if it was the Patriots to get Christian Gonzalez or if it was the Seahawks to get Devin Witherspoon. It was one or the other. I don't know which it was. Forgive me. But either way, the situation works the same. I just wanted to clarify for the people that I'm sure.
This guy isn't paying attention.
Pat, your boy doesn't know ball. Your boy doesn't know ball.
They already think we don't know ball. It's
I know. It is what it is,
all right,
man. All good.
I enjoy this. I enjoy the back and forth. I am finna start frying some of y'all, though. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Y'all be trying to take these like personal shots, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of y'all got some bad profile pictures out here, dog.
Oh, no.
You ever click on any of the pictures on these comments, dog?
No, most of them don't have faces.
Oh, I got some bold people out here. Some of y'all got some bad profile pictures out here, man. Like, it looked like it's tough for y'all not to smell like piss out here.
Oh, my goodness, Pat. I tell you.
Was that too far? That was a mild joke.
Most of the time, I don't read the comments, but I do occasionally. I like to skim every once in a while. Yeah, it's just, I'm not going to go into it. You can't win the war. It's one of those things. Like, and this would be what I would say to you if you're going to start frying people. It's a no-win scenario.
Oh, no, it's easy. It's easy because here's the thing. At the end of the day, the thing that makes a difference between us doing this and them in the comments yelling at us about doing this, we get paid to do this.
Nah, but listen,
we get to do what we love and get money off of it.
I understand.
We're winning in life already.
I'm appreciative of that fact, and it's never lost on me. But the other thing that isn't lost on me is, and this would be fun for the people that like to, this Shea guy, he's a moron, he's an idiot, whatever. Do it. I don't care. You want to call me a horrible name? Call me a horrible name. You want to tell me that I should fall out of a window of a tall building? Tell me I should fall out of a window of a tall building. I don't care. Because the reality is hate and love are just opposite ends of the same feeling.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pendulum swing.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
All good.
It's just, you know what it is? It's fun for me when people are in the comments just losing their minds. And I'm like,
I love it.
But you know the team's not paying you, right? Like, you know. Also, my favorite thing is I don't think they know this. I can go back and see the comments. Like if you click on their names, their comments from the entire time on the channel show up. So there's a lot of people that like have flipped their entire opinions.
Oh yeah, of course.
And now they're just like, oh, well, this guy, he knows nothing. It's like, oh man, that social media got to you, buddy.
It is what it is.
I love it. I love you guys. I love doing this with you guys. And it's all jokes.
I appreciate every listener.
Absolutely.
I do. And even the people who hate me. I love you guys.
You want to know what the thing I love about the people who hate you most is? I know they can't type fast enough to not register as a view.
All counts the same.
I've seen a lot of these spellings. There's a lot of bad spellers out there in the world. That spell check's not helping you. Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. A fun episode. Little cold open, little loose. This is off-season content, baby.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Until free agency gets here, It's about to start being a mock your socks off kind of off season.
Oh, matter of fact, if you would like, I can do mock draft 1.0 next
Ooh,
week.
a little Monday mock?
Yeah,
I'd love to see your mock, bud.
leaving that alone. Have a great rest of your day.
Shout out to Shea Norling, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Love y'all, man. Peace.